Hello, I'm Mr. Hightshoe. I'm teaching here at City High School. This is our replacement for, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have our back to school night, so we ended up going with this digitally. So here's what you get to see for today. Sorry for not using the full picture. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this, so I'm going to go with kind of what I know. So I'm Mr. Hightshoe. I teach your son or daughter in Algebra 2, and this year we're off to a good start. It'll be an interesting year just because of the difference from where we've been in the past, with having half the year or partial of the year 2 years ago, and then partial of the last year being not in person. So it's going to be an interesting year. There will be some bumps and bruises along the way, but that's kind of expected to, and we'll figure out what we need to do as we go on. Um, just some information about myself here. I've taught here now for 29. I've taught for 29 years. I've taught here at City High for 23 years. I taught 3 years in Arizona and 3 years in East Moline before I came here. And the courses I've taught a wide range of courses: Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, Intro to Algebra. I've also taught math skills. We have an integrated Math 1 at one time that I've taught. I've taught practical math. I've taught a lot of different things, and I enjoy it. I enjoy all the differences between each class and each group of kids. I really do enjoy the Algebra 2. It's kind of neat to see the kids as they get a little bit older, a little bit more mature as they go through here. Um, where does Algebra 2 fit in with everything? Well, typically Algebra 2 is kind of the last class. Well, it's the class that is required for entry into most of our state schools. All three of our state schools are the university here in Iowa. So UNI, Iowa, and Iowa State. And you have to have Algebra 2. The It is also a really great place as you get ready to take the ACT exam. Algebra 2 is that's where a lot of the ACT exam is, and so it's really good for us to have that taken by the time you take the ACT exam. Um, After this class, and I always tell the kids that I'd like for them to take a fourth year of math. Lots of kids, they think that they'd like to be done, but quite honestly, I really believe that every school is going to have a requirement of some mathematics that you have to take once you get into college. It may not be your major, it may not be calculus, but it's going to be something. And so I really suggest that they take 4 years of math. And for their fourth year, assuming that again most students in this class are in here taking our juniors. So for the fourth year of a class, they take pre-calculus or algebra and beyond. The pre-calculus is it's kind of just, as far as a normal track, that's just normally what kids would take after this. And then the algebra and beyond, it's another course to keep you in math. It's not quite as rigorous as pre-calculus, but it's another good course. The reason why I really think the kids should be taking 4 years of math, I do think it really helps you to prepare for college mathematics when you get there. And it also just gives you want to stay in the practice of doing math and doing the homework, and just kind of keeping up with it as you go. The last thing I have is I'll just take you to my Canvas page here. I hope. And this is the student view of my Canvas page. And there's just a lot of information here, and I really want to make sure that everybody knows how to navigate this. Um, with COVID last year, we really found out how to use your web page and how to make it kind of useful. The first thing here, this is my email address. If you have any questions, please send me an email. Typically, what I do with this is I usually talk to the student about the email or about what's said in there, and then I go from there. I'm really great about reading email. I'm not as good about responding to email. I apologize for that in advance. It's just one of those things that I'm just not as good about doing. From this webpage and from this site, obviously this is our current one going on. Here are all the different assignments that have been assigned so far, even already this year, and it doesn't include anything that's coming up or anything else like that. Now, I do this on a weekly basis. Usually Sunday, I sit down and try to figure out what I'm going to do for the next week. I haven't got back into the routine, honestly, of giving a 2 week window. I really try to give a 2-week window so that way students know when there's a test or a quiz coming up. This quiz that we're going to take, it ends up to be Thursday. I posted that a couple days ago, so that tells them that's been able to do that. So this is what we've done this week, and then next week we'll have it here. I also have a listing of all the different assignments. If a student needs something from last week, this will continue on and this will tell you where the last week's assignments were. Last year with COVID, we had a whole bunch of videos, and I found this Mrs. Allen teaches Algebra 2 out of the same textbook using the same examples and things like that. So that's why she's always in here. But then the other ones, what I found is a couple of people that I like to look at. I like the look of their videos. They do things similarly to how I do things, so I have videos from other people as well. And then down here, Desmos is a computer program that we use as a calculator here in class. It's a great program. It's really useful. It's not allowed on the ACT, but it is allowed about everything else. This is a link to the textbook. This tells the kids how to submit assignments on Canvas because I'm still having kids just, submit everything through Canvas. And then I have the answer keys available for the kids. As long as they're using them correctly, they're not just copying down the answers so they have something to turn in, but they actually have done the math and need to check to see how they're doing, then they're right there, and that's not a problem. I worked out every problem that I assign, and it's right there for them to look at. The other things that I want to notice is, like if they want to go to an assignment, let's say they have to do the 1.6 assignment. This is a link right to that particular assignment. It sends them right to the assignment. It tells them when it was due and everything else like that. And then when you click on this, then that assignment comes up and they can see the problems that they were assigned to do and everything. So it's right there for them to do. And I try to keep those. Those are always linked up and active. Along the left-hand side here, the modules are just where these links end up going. That's where they're at. So I have the modules for here's the videos, and then the answer keys. That's where they link back to those. The assignments, that's when you click on the assignment down there in the calendar, it sends you to this assignment page. And this will keep running all the way throughout the time. The last one here that I'd like that pays attention to the grades. I'm putting all my grades into Canvas first, and then they get transferred into Infinite Campus. And I haven't done any checking to make sure that how accurate the two of them are. I believe they should be really close to each other all the time. The way that I have grades set up, practice is 15%, evaluations, quizzes, and tests are worth 85%. So this is test student's grade, and test student doesn't ever do their homework. And so it's listing here about what their assignments are, when they're due. What I do when I assign an assignment, I give the kids 2 days to get those in and submitted. And that's when it says that it's missing. Okay, so if your son or daughter has not done an assignment, it will list as a 1. If they've done an assignment, it'll list that as 2. Every assignment's only out of 2 points. And if I go down here a little bit further, I have the evaluations total grade, and then I also have the practice total grade. So right now, test student is getting a 50%. The last thing that I need to talk to you about is how I do quiz and test replacements. So right now, we're going to take a quiz coming up, and that quiz they will be allowed to retake that particular quiz if they feel necessary to do that. After this, I try not to have the kids do any retaking of quizzes. I try to grade these the night after they take them and give them back to them the very next morning, and then we go over those quizzes very thoroughly. The problem with having a kid retake a quiz is now those answers are public. And I just don't want them to be public. And it's a huge advantage, in my opinion, from one day to the next. So I don't really like to do that. So what I've come up with is a test replacement policy. My test replacement policy goes like this. So if a kid scores a 70% on the first quiz and a 60% on the second quiz, and then they score a 90% on the test, as long as they have completed all the assignments for that chapter, then that 90 will replace that 70 and the 60. Okay, and that score will go up. Now, the question I often get is, does it work the other way? Let's say they score 90 on the quiz, but an 85 on the test. Will that 90 then replace 85? And that's not the way it works. It only replaces the tests, replace the quizzes. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, all the way throughout this chapter, we're trying to continue to learn and use everything that we have to get better and better and better. Then when that test comes, that's the day that everything comes together. There should be no new information on the test. It's going to be just the quizzes. It's just kind of a summary of the quizzes, and here we go. Okay, so I think that's about everything that I have with this. The test replacement policy really works out well for kids. It's really, really beneficial to them. A lot of kids, they get a chance to take advantage of it. It's really good for the kids. Okay, thank you very much.